Take a slow, comfortable breath in and gently release it, breathing in and allowing the breath to leave in its own time. For these next few moments, there is nowhere else you need to be, nothing to work out, nothing to solve, only this breath. You can imagine that every breath carries you a little deeper inward, as though you are walking down a peaceful pathway at the end of a warm day. The air is still, the ground is steady, and with every step, the outside world becomes quieter. 10, settling. 9, softening. 8, allowing your shoulders to become loose and comfortable. 7, letting the muscles around your eyes soften. 6, your breathing finding its own peaceful rhythm. 5, halfway down now. 4, your body remembering how naturally it knows how to rest. 3, thoughts becoming distant, like clouds traveling quietly across a wide sky. 2, deeper into stillness. And 1, here, present, held. God is here. There is a deeper part of you that already understands something the thinking mind sometimes forgets. Life only ever arrives one moment at a time. There is only this moment, and God is already here. Imagine yourself standing beside a beautiful river. The water flows gently past you, and floating upon the river are leaves. Each leaf can carry a question, a calculation, a plan, a how, a when, a thought about money, or a thought about tomorrow. Whenever one appears, simply place it upon a leaf and watch the current carry it onward. You were never asked to hold the entire river. You were simply invited to stand beside it and trust its movement. And somewhere deep within you, these words can begin to settle. Be still and know that I am God. Not work everything out and know. Not see the entire road and know. And perhaps fear and worry have sometimes felt familiar. Maybe your mind learned long ago to scan ahead, anticipate, calculate, and prepare for every possibility. Imagine that as an old pathway through a field, traveled so many times that your feet began finding it automatically. And now you understand, a familiar pathway is simply a familiar pathway. The field contains other directions. Every time you return to the present, every time you return to God, every time you choose trust and wise action, another path becomes clearer. So whenever that familiar feeling arises, some deeper part of you can recognize, this is an old pathway asking to be traveled, and I can choose a new one. Back to this breath, back to this moment, back to God, and perhaps something inside you understands. You were never required to keep watch over every possible tomorrow. God is already there. And while you rest, life continues moving. People move, ideas form, connections are made, doors open, circumstances change. Something that appears impossible today may have an answer you cannot presently imagine. So uncertainty can become open space, possibility, room for God to move, room for circumstances to change, room for opportunities you cannot yet see, room for ideas that haven't yet occurred to you. A seed beneath the soil cannot see the garden it is becoming. It simply responds to what it receives: water, light, time. Something inside that tiny seed already knows which direction to grow. You are allowed to grow like that, one movement at a time, one inspired idea at a time, one conversation, one decision, one open door, one ordinary day that unexpectedly changes something. Imagine now that you are walking through the countryside just before sunrise. You are carrying a lantern. The lantern doesn't illuminate the entire journey. It illuminates the next few steps, and that is enough, because when you take those steps, the next part of the path appears, and then the next. Perhaps faith is sometimes like that. Enough light for the step you are actually taking. Your mind can become increasingly receptive to guidance. God can guide through ordinary things, an idea that keeps returning, a skill you suddenly recognize has value, a conversation, a person you feel prompted to contact, something you feel inspired to create, something you realize you can learn, a different way of using what is already in your hands, an opportunity that initially looks small, a door you hadn't previously noticed. Your mind can become calm enough to notice, clear enough to discern, and confident enough to act. Because trust and movement can walk together. Prayer and practical action can walk together. Surrender and wisdom can walk together. You can trust God and make that call. Trust God and develop the idea. Trust God and learn the skill. Trust God and send the application. Trust God and create something valuable. Trust God and follow the next wise step. And perhaps prosperity itself can begin to take on a deeper meaning. Your gifts circulating in the world, your work serving others, your ideas becoming useful, your creativity creating value, you becoming increasingly able to recognize opportunities, manage what comes into your hands wisely, receive graciously, give wisely, and create from purpose. Your relationship with money can become calmer and clearer. You can look at numbers with wisdom, make thoughtful decisions, recognize possibilities, use what comes into your hands wisely while remaining rooted in God. Whenever your mind asks, "But how will it happen?" another, deeper voice can answer, "I only need the next step." Whenever your attention travels far into tomorrow, gently bring it home. Here, now, this breath, this day. Because ideas are easier to hear in presence, wisdom becomes clearer in stillness, discernment becomes easier when the waters settle. Imagine a glass of water containing fine grains of sand. When continuously shaken, everything appears cloudy, and when the glass becomes still, the sand settles naturally and the water becomes clear. You don't have to force clarity. You can allow the mind to settle long enough for clarity to find you. And from that clearer place you can ask, "God, show me what is mine to do today." Perhaps an idea arrives. Perhaps an opportunity becomes noticeable. Perhaps you recognize a resource you already possess. Perhaps you feel drawn toward learning, creating, contacting someone, applying, asking, changing direction, or beginning something new. And when the next step becomes clear, you move, faithfully, calmly, one step at a time. Imagine now a great tree. Its branches stretch widely toward the sky and its roots reach deeply into the earth. The branches can move because the roots are anchored, and perhaps your faith can become those roots. Circumstances may change, numbers may change, plans may change, doors may open in unexpected places, but underneath it all, your roots remain. God is with me. God gives wisdom. I can ask and listen. I can recognize what is placed before me. I can take today's step today. Jesus spoke of the birds of the air. They move through the day they have been given, and perhaps some deeper part of you understands the invitation contained within that image. Today's grace, today's provision, today's wisdom, today's strength, today's opportunity, today's idea, today's conversation, today's step, and tomorrow will have its own. Imagine placing everything beyond today into God's hands. The coming weeks, the coming months, your finances, your work, your resources, your dreams, your loved ones, your unanswered questions, your hopes, and all the paths you cannot yet see. And perhaps you hear quietly within, "Tomorrow can rest with me." God is already present in places you haven't reached yet, and when you arrive, He will still be there, so your attention can return home to this breath, this room, this body, this day. And from this place, your mind becomes available for wisdom. Creative ideas can rise naturally, solutions become visible, connections become clearer. You recognize what is yours to do and entrust the rest to God. Perhaps your unconscious mind can begin asking a gentler question: what is my next faithful step? Sometimes that step may be action, sometimes preparation, sometimes learning, sometimes creating, sometimes asking, sometimes waiting, sometimes resting long enough to hear clearly. And you can become skilled at recognizing the difference. Faith becomes familiar, presence becomes familiar, trust becomes familiar. Allow these words to settle deeply. I am here. God is here. This moment contains what I need for this moment. I can plan while remaining peaceful. I manage money with wisdom and clarity. My mind is receptive to creative ideas, solutions, and opportunities. I recognize ways to use my gifts and abilities. I take practical, faithful action. God gives me wisdom for each step. I allow life to unfold one chapter at a time. God directs my steps. Imagine that old pathway through the field once more. Grass is beginning to grow across it, while another pathway becomes clearer beneath your feet, the pathway of presence, the pathway of wisdom, the pathway of faith, and each time you walk it, it becomes easier. You still cannot see every mile, and somehow you don't need to, because you have discovered something more valuable than seeing the entire road. You have discovered how to walk with God, step by step, breath by breath, and perhaps today, tomorrow, an idea will arise. A connection will become obvious. An opportunity will appear. Something will suddenly make sense. And rather than needing to know where it eventually leads, you can simply recognize, this may be my next step, and take it. The path doesn't need to appear all at once. The lantern only needs to illuminate the next few feet. The seed only needs today's water. In a moment, I will count from 1 to 5. At 5, you can return feeling peaceful, clear, and present, carrying this quiet trust with you. 1, becoming aware of your body. 2, feeling the surface beneath you. 3, taking a deeper, refreshing breath. 4, bringing gentle movement into your hands and feet. And 5, eyes opening whenever you are ready.